For 7 years I was married to Clara. Our story began at a bustling networking conference in Seattle, where her quick wit and effortless confidence pulled me in like gravity. She moved through the crowd with a quiet determination, her presence impossible to ignore. From the moment we met, our connection sparked with an intensity that felt rare and electric. To the outside world, we were the perfect couple, the kind whose smiles sparked envy and whose harmony silenced whispers at any gathering. But perfection is a fragile illusion, especially when secrets begin to accumulate like dust beneath a polished surface. The early years of our marriage were filled with light and laughter, some of the brightest days I have ever known. We dreamed together, planned spontaneous adventures, and built a life that seemed unbreakable. But by our 6th year, something subtle yet profound began to shift. Clara started spending more time with Lena, an old friend of hers, free-spirited, wild, and unapologetically chaotic. Lena was outspoken, dismissive of commitment, and viewed marriage as a cage meant to be shattered. At first, I told myself Clara's growing closeness to Lena was harmless, just a friendship rekindled. But then the sleepovers started. Clara, a grown woman, would stay at Lena's apartment on random weeknights, casually explaining away the late hours as catching up. I trusted her completely, so I brushed aside the unease creeping in. But the changes grew impossible to ignore. New clothes I hadn't seen before, secretive glances at her phone, a growing distance between us that no amount of forced conversation could bridge. One evening, while Clara was in the bath, I reached for her phone to check the time. What was once an open book between us now demanded a passcode. That tiny barrier felt like a punch to the gut, stirring a deep unrest I could no longer ignore. I didn't lash out. I didn't confront. I simply watched and waited. Then, driven by a gnawing instinct I didn't fully understand, I did something I never imagined I would. I installed tracking software on her phone. It wasn't pride or trust guiding me, but desperation for the truth. What I uncovered shattered me. Clara was part of a group chat with Lena and 2 others, organizing what they called escape nights. These weren't innocent outings. They were calculated steps away from our vows, away from everything we promised. It wasn't just cheating. It was betrayal wrapped in the guise of personal freedom. The worst blow was reading Clara's own words. I don't want to hurt Ethan, but fidelity feels like a cage. Lena was the puppeteer, urging Clara to live for herself, while the woman who once whispered promises of forever to me slipped further into a shadow life, meeting strangers in dimly lit clubs under assumed names. Each night, I kissed her forehead with a heavy heart and tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear before she left for another friend's trip. But beneath the surface I was planning. Not out of spite, but out of a need to protect what was left of myself. I hired a private investigator, recommended by a colleague who had endured his own betrayal, and within days I had undeniable proof. Photos, timestamps, texts, evidence of Clara with multiple men over weeks. Divorce was not my first thought. I wanted her to taste the sting of betrayal, to understand the chaos she had sown. So I changed my approach. I began staying out late, putting distance between us, not out of pettiness but with intention. Clara noticed. She asked where I'd been. I offered vague smiles and excuses about work. One night, I told her plainly, I won't be home tonight. I've been reflecting. I need space. Her eyes flickered with unease, the first sign she sensed the foundation of our life cracking. A week later, I left my phone carelessly on the kitchen counter, a carefully crafted fake dating profile displayed on the screen. It was believable enough to pass casual scrutiny. The next morning, I found her in the dining room, her face pale and drained, staring at me. Is this what you mean by space? She whispered, voice trembling. I met her gaze steadily. You changed the rules of our marriage, didn't you? Her lips parted, but no words came. The final moment came soon after. I invited Clara and Lena over under the pretense of easing the tension, a dinner to patch things. I poured the wine, kept my voice calm, then played my hand. A projector flickered on, displaying every text, every photo, every timeline. Clara's face turned ashen. Lena tried to laugh it off, but her voice cracked. I looked them both in the eye. You convinced my wife that breaking our bond was liberation. Now, you both understand what it means to lose it all. I slid divorce papers across the table to Clara. I had once believed divorce was a last resort, but that was before I saw the ease of her betrayal, the cold absence of regret until she was exposed. Tears streamed down her face as she pleaded, swearing it was a fleeting mistake and that her love for me remained. But betrayal uncovers truths that cannot be undone. As I left that night, I told her, freedom comes at a price. You took yours. Now I'm taking mine. I retreated to a small apartment downtown, slowly rebuilding my life piece by piece. Over time, I found solace in the quiet. No more lies, no more pretense. Just a stillness that promised a new beginning.